What if the only people who could save the world were the ones locked away for destroying it? That is the brutal reality of Path to Nowhere. Today we're breaking down why this dark, emotionally driven tower defense game is secretly one of the best in the gacha genre, and why so many people still sleep on it. Path to Nowhere is a real-time tower defense gacha game set in a dark dystopian world. It stands out as a hidden gem in the gacha space, highly praised for its story, which honestly gets very messed up. Its characters, a lot of which are dami mommies, and stylish presentation, even if it hasn't achieved massive mainstream popularity. The game takes place in Dis City, a sprawling, rain-soaked megalopolis in a post-apocalyptic future. A mysterious catastrophe involving meteorites unleashed mania, a plague-like phenomenon that erodes people's consciousness and mutates them into monstrous threats. You play as the chief of the Minos Bureau of Crisis Control, essentially running a high-security prison that detains and shackles powerful individuals known as sinners. These sinners retain their minds despite mania exposure and possess unique abilities, making them valuable assets and at times dangerous liabilities for fighting the apocalypse. The tone is dark cyberpunk noir with some pretty significant moral ambiguity. There are crime syndicates, systemic corruption, and they do a great job of blurring the line between justice and survival. The world feels oppressive yet intriguing, with character-driven lore that unfolds through interrogations, personal stories, and crises across different districts. Visually, Path to Nowhere excels with its unique, mature, anime-inspired 2D style that honestly feels pretty distinctive in an ocean of generic gacha lookalikes. Character designs are gorgeous, detailed, and more often than not, pretty damn striking. Many sinners have this restrained, edgy aesthetic, chains, restraints, really channeling that domination vibe that I've now become infatuated with, that contrasts their power and tragic depth. The art direction has live 2D style animations and professional voice acting, enhancing that immersion. I actually dislike when gacha games have no dub, especially an English one. It's not the flashiest or highest budget production, but the consistent quality and the stylish noir vibe make it very memorable. I've talked to people that swear this game has some of the best looking character designs in the genre, and honestly, when you look at some of them, you can understand why that is. The story is heavily character driven and widely regarded as one of the strongest in the gacha genre, rivaling the likes of Arknights, Nikke, Limbus Company. You manage crises by recruiting and controlling sinners while uncovering the mysteries of mania, the apocalypse, and larger conspiracies threatening the world. It is a story of freedom, redemption, trauma, and hope in a world of despair. It starts off strong and continues to improve gradually over time, providing consistently high storytelling. This is an emotional masterpiece, providing a lot of very deep backstories and strong character arcs, with interrogations and personal events adding intimacy elements. It's a much darker and more mature gacha game than many of its competitors, foregoing the lighter, more comical style of storytelling in favor of meaningful choices. Path to Nowhere is a real-time tower defense game on a grid-based battlefield. You deploy several sinners who auto-attack waves of enemies, advancing toward objectives. A nice quality of life improvement in the genre is the ability to actively reposition units in real time during battle, giving more agency, more recovery options, and the option for more dynamic strategy. Your positioning and your team composition matters. Skill and ultimate usage is manual activation, with core breaking mechanics for bonus damage. There is a resource that you're required to manage sanity, deployment limits. Progression via upgrading sinners is easily farmable, allowing for skipping and sweeping after the first clear. Once again, another clear quality of life win. There's also a roguelike mode with randomized elements, path choices, and varied combat for replayability. The difficulty is generally pretty fair, not too punishing for casual play, but with strategic depth and harder content. It can feel a little grindy or repetitive for some after many hours. Sure, in advanced stages reward or require manual intervention. This is primarily a single player experience. There is no significant PvP or deep co-op, and honestly, from the players I've asked, they generally seem to prefer it this way, focusing on PvE strategy and story rather than competitive multiplayer. It's not a game built around playing with friends in real time, and I like that. Competitive play in the form of PvP leaves a lot of room for FOMO and pay to win. This game doesn't have that. Now, I do want to address the elephant in the room here, the very clear competition and comparisons made to Arknights, much like Genshin Impact vs Wuthering Waves and Nanta vs Neverness to Everness, PlayStation vs Xbox, console vs PC, Marvel vs DC. The list goes on and on. Path to Nowhere is not a clone of, nor does it draw inspiration from Arknights. It draws from classic tower defense mechanics, but has a modernized take with gacha character collection and RPG progression. Both are tower defense gacha games with strategic deployment. Path to Nowhere differentiates itself with real-time unit movement, which is much more dynamic than Arknight's pre-placement focus. It has a stronger emphasis on individual character stories over more broad world building, and a much darker, more intimate tone. Both games have phenomenal music, fantastic lore, incredible character models, great voice acting, fun events. The games share the same tower defense genre, but are so substantially different from one another that they're barely even comparable, and I prefer it that way. The gacha is among the more generous in the genre. Base rates are 2% for S rank, the highest rarity, with pity guaranteeing one within 80 pulls. Soft pity ramps up earlier. Event and standard banners are similar. You have a solid monthly pull income as a free-to-play player. From what I've read, estimates put it around 50 to 60 pulls per month. I don't do all the content, nor do I log in every day to confirm exact numbers. Free-to-play friendliness is excellent, one of the game's strongest points. Rates are good, content cadence is great, and the ability to enjoy the story and collect without heavy spending makes this more enjoyable than normal. It features an outstanding story and characters, emotional, well-written, and deeply engaging. It has stylish, unique art, and the presentation truly stands out. The dynamic tower defense gameplay with real-time repositioning has a lot of strategy and fun. I love the excellent voice acting and the moody soundtrack. There's a strong sense of personality and heart. It feels premium in narrative and visuals, and there are consistent updates and improved quality over time. However, I've heard criticisms over how dark the tone is. Not everyone wants crime or moral grayness or tragedy. It can definitely feel heavy. The marketing is honestly kind of poor. It remains a hidden gem with a smaller global player base and less hype and less content volume than some of its competition. Like all tower defense games, it can become grindy or repetitive in the long term. Stamina restrictions and farming loops exist, so it's largely mitigated by sweeps. Story scenes do use still images, which provides less of a cinematic experience than some have come to expect. And finally, there's less wow factor in production values, being more of a tell game rather than a show game, which I also enjoy, but not everyone does. But is Path to Nowhere worth playing? Yes. So much freaking yes, especially if you enjoy story-driven gacha games with deep, complex characters, you enjoy tower defense games with real-time movement, you enjoy dark, stylish, mature aesthetics, or you enjoy free-to-play friendly experiences. Like all the tower defense games I play, Path to Nowhere functions particularly strong as a side game for players burned out on brighter or cuter titles, or those wanting something with more narrative weight. Arknights fans should definitely try it out for the differences. If you dislike dark themes, if you prefer heavy multiplayer or PvP content, or you want constant high production spectacles, the game might not click for you. As a hidden gem with passionate fans, dedicated story, character writing, and generous systems, Path to Nowhere delivers a distinct experience that is well worth trying, especially if you're into gacha games for the characters in the world as much as the gameplay. This is truly an underrated masterpiece in storytelling that more people genuinely need to play. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.